Put out there to everybody who's watching, which we're actually recording right now, but actually getting right into it. So we'll just go ahead and get started.
Right.
Here you go, guys. This is going to be Donald coming to you from Masao, Japan. Not going to say YouTube anymore because we got on Spotify, we got on SoundCloud and everything. So this is going to be for guys listening out there. Yeah, for me, like I was just talking offline. He's the first person, or how do people refer to you now? So your
pronouns are she and her.
She and her. On paper, everything is transferred over as well, and
for non-military, yes, everything's transferred over.
All right. So basically, for the military stuff, we'll first get an introduction. Just tell everybody out there a little bit about yourself, and when did you start the transfer over and stuff like that, and we'll go from there.
So I'm Lianna. Donnie knows me as Tate.
Yeah.
That was my dead name. Most transgender people won't tell you their dead name, but I'm not that ashamed of it. I'm from Washington State. Been in the military for 5 years now. I started transitioning in 2017, technically, because I got my hormones in October. Full start of all of the process started in around November, December of 16. So it's been a year and 7 months, I believe, on hormones. So
as far as the hormones and everything, so when you I know, it's not something you said 2017 everything you started going over, so it wasn't like that wasn't something like you just woke up in 2017 and you were.
Oh God, no.
So
no.
you were, so before you got here.
Oh, it was before I joined that
really?
I was thinking about it. So I had the light bulb moment in senior year of high school. A friend wanted to go to Rocky Horror Picture Show for his birthday, and he was like, "Yeah, everyone dresses up and stuff," and I was like, "Screw it, I'll dress up. Why not?" I wasn't ashamed of doing outside things. I mean, I went to an art school for high school, so it wasn't strange to me. So once I finally finished getting all the clothes on and putting the makeup on, I looked in the mirror and kind of had this moment of, wow, this actually feels way better than normal clothes. Actually, it just felt right.
Adjust this for a little bit so that way you can be more comfortable. Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And after that, I was kind of back and forth about it, because coming to the realization of it is one thing, but accepting it is another thing.
Right.
So it took me about 4 years to finally be like, okay, yeah, this is who I am. This is what I want to do. So I'm going to move forward with this process. And that was right around the time that they lifted the military ban that I started to accept it.
Okay. And then far as again the getting into it, were you keeping it from, what did your family know, or did you tell them? And
okay, so in the beginning when I was thinking about it, my family didn't know. I started the process with the military to start getting treatment for it and all that long before I told anyone in my family. And then my counselor was constantly like, you got to tell your mom. You got to tell your mom. I was like, okay, fine. So my mom was asking me all those questions about, was I pregnant, or all that craziness.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mom, just be quiet and let me tell you.
Yeah.
So I told her that I was transgender, and she was like, oh, that's it? I was like, Mom,
yeah.
What? I was so nervous. It was quite a moment, that's for sure. But at first she was very uncomfortable with the idea of me medically transitioning.
Yeah.
Because of the health risks involved with taking hormones and the surgeries and all that extra stuff. But after a while, she came around to be okay with it. So.
And speaking of that, you have surgeries already, or?
I've had a surgery to reduce the size of my Adam's apple, and I'm planning on getting bottom surgery. That one is quite a endeavor because the military told me that I wasn't authorized to sign up to get the surgery until June, which is next month. And then on top of that, I have to comply with all the waiting lists that the civilian providers have. And the military providers don't offer this. So I have to go to a civilian provider, which is probably a good thing because they're like specialized in that side of things. But they all have excessively long waiting lists. So the place I'm looking at has a 4-year waiting list right now.
And then for the military, like as far as transitioning over and everything, has there like your PT test and everything? Are you? I know this is a big thing. Everybody wants to know like what do you fall under? Because
So that's a whole big thing.
Yeah.
And for dress and appearance, I have an exception to policy letter because the military doesn't allow you to change your gender marker in DEERS until you have completed your transition plan. And bottom surgery is part of my transition plan, so I have to complete that aspect before I'm able to get my gender marker changed. So I had to get an exception to policy letter for dress and appearance to follow female standards. I've routed a exception to policy letter for facilities, but that one got denied all the way up the chain. So I still have to use male restrooms and changing rooms and all that. And then for PT tests, you are required to fail a test of your given gender before they will allow you to write an exception to policy, which will then allow you to follow the standards of your preferred gender. So last year in July, I failed a PT test, and we started routing the paperwork for that probably around August, September. And it's up at the Pentagon, and I haven't gotten it back yet, so we'll see.
Then, like, as far as, I mean, I understand with the PT stuff and everything, but, them saying, like, with the policies and everything, and I guess it really depends on, like, who's in office and things like that. Like, when did the military, like, I know that first I kind of seen it coming, because first they had the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy came down, and that was right around the time I was still in, because I had to go to the training and all that stuff. And then shortly after that, I guess, is that still a thing, or did that get repealed?
So the transgender ban was lifted on June 30th of 2016. And then Trump came into office, and he had his Secretary of Defense review the policy, and there was that big old tweet thing that he posted about transgender members won't serve, but it wasn't through official channels.
Right.
So it took up until March of this year for them to re-ban transgender members. So anyone who had their gender dysphoria diagnosis prior to March 13th, 2019 is grandfathered into the previous policy. So obviously I'm grandfathered in.
Okay.
I got mine a long time ago. But anyone that gets diagnosed after that can't transition. So
yeah, it's kind of like taking away Christmas, I guess, because it was like everybody, like people probably following you, seeing you doing your thing and transferring over. And then it's like, bam, you can't do it no more. And then from that aspect, the way I see it is, you always, it's like you're always gonna, your whole career is just gonna be like scrutinized, and some things, like, I mean, even though you're doing the hormone, is it like an injection or a?
So there's 3 different ways to do hormones. There's a patch, a pill, and an injection. The patch is like the safest, least health risk. The pill is kind of middle of the road, and then the injection has the fastest acting results, but it's got the highest health risks.
Right.
I personally decided to go with the pills because I don't want to be stabbing myself in the leg every freaking week to keep up with
hormones. Is it a weekly or daily, monthly?
I have to take pills daily.
Daily?
The injections are weekly, and then the patch, I think, is a daily thing as well. It might be a weekly thing.
And
I'm not sure.
The pills is that covered by? Is that paid for by you, or is that?
No, TRICARE covers it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like a normal prescription for anything that you would have. So.
1 second, let me check this. Make sure we all good. So just to make sure we're still in par. Alright, so really good. Microphone in. Alright, cool. Alright. Then, like I say, so the pills are covered by TRICARE. So like the way I see it, but so like your whole transition is covered by TRICARE, so to speak.
Yes, as long as I'm actively serving.
Right.
Then it is covered.
So now I'm pretty sure they're like, all right, well, people are going to start getting in to get it, they get everything paid for, and then getting out, and they're worrying about manpower and all that stuff.
I mean, the military's moving in an interesting direction.
Yeah,
where
I would
they
say.
want to bring people in for their first enlistment, train them up, and then make it harder for them to stay in.
Because it costs cheaper.
It's cheaper for them to
run,
train a new person than to keep an old person.
All right.
So that's kind of the direction it's going. So I don't see why that would be an issue for them. A lot of it is, I think, a misrepresentation of facts. I've looked into quite a few articles. I mean, obviously, not everything you read on the internet is true.
Right.
But a lot of the information I found counterdicts. That's the word. Yeah, counterdicts the information that the president has been using to make his decision. So his main thing is finance or the medical cost of doing the transition. And in reality, the cost isn't really that much to cover all the members that are actively transitioning right now.
So do you know? Is there like a number of? Do you
I
know
think
like
it's
how many people are done it or?
I think there are currently like across DoD 15,000.
I'm pretty sure there's. Do you have a support group for?
I haven't found one, but there's a lot of transgender forums and stuff like that you can get on. But I mean, there's 4 transgender members on base here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know all those. There's me.
Oh, they public. They're public.
Yeah. Okay. There's me, and I know of 2 other male to females and a female to male. So, I mean, here on our base alone, it's not a big base, but it's not a small base. I think there's 5,000 people.
Right.
There's at least 3 transgender members that I know of.
That's news to me because I haven't seen like. I guess did they go
one
out
of them's like fresh. She just got her approval back from San Antonio, so she's fresh. The male that I know, he has had hormones for, I want to say 2 months now, so he's still pretty fresh. And then the other one I know didn't get her diagnosis, so she was told that she can't medically transition. And for all those people, I'm using their preferred pronouns, not their given. So,
okay. And then this one, like, kind of like breaking action real quick. The one thing, like, for guys that are watching and everything, the way that we met actually was through cars. We kind of jumped right into it because again, I have so many questions, and it's like even. I should have wrote them down, but we'll get to them. But the way we met was through cars. She bought my R32, my 2-door one, and then rebuilt that, and then had some issues with the engine and stuff like that. So that's kind of how we met everything, and through cars. So it's kind of like the most of the stuff I talk about here is not like directly, even though I'm a car shop and we're in an automotive shop, it's not like car stuff because I can talk about multiple different things that just happen to be my set. But definitely, having a things in common, military, cars, and things like that. Get across to people out there who are like, what I'm looking at or whatever. I didn't know, you don't know how you're going to react until you're in certain situations as life is.
Yeah.
And the one thing, my wife said she seen you with the purse, and I was like, you sure? Because I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know anything about it. Yeah. And then like you were kind of, I mean, after you moved off base, you kind of like I
got my own space to work. Yeah. So I was able to do my own thing for the most part, and I wanted to improve my personal skill set, and not have to rely on other people. Yeah. Like you're still a great resource for acquiring parts and asking questions.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I mean, having a garage is. I mean, nothing against that, because if it wasn't for that mindset, I wouldn't be here, because
you had to get a bigger space. That tiny one car garage place.
I mean, like as far as getting in the cars, it was how was it? I went to a shop one time and the guy was, and actually now looking back, I told somebody this story recently. I had a Celica 86. I went to the shop and I was like, I didn't know anything back then. This was like this is like 2000. Like 2000, 2001 or something like that. And I went to the shop and the guy put it on a lift, and like everything that could leaked, everything that was busted, everything. And I seen it, and I just thought, all right, you just wipe it off. And he's like, dude, it's going to be like $4,000 to fix this piece of shit. And I was like, all right, whatever. And I went there and like it got towed away and never seen it again. So that's kind of what pushed me into all that stuff. So kind of like getting back onto the topic at hand right here. Again, that's how we met, was through cars and everything. And again, like I said, like my wife said she saw you with a purse, and then shortly after that, I like asked somebody about. I was like, hey man, like have you seen Tate around? And then it was just kind of like they were awkward about, like they were saying like, yeah, I don't know what's going on or whatever. Yeah. So then I eventually I start I follow you on Instagram, so I started kind of putting together. Yep. Everything. I start seeing the pictures like, well, something's going on here. I'll wait till it's like it matures, and then eventually I'll hit you up and everything. But kind of what I'm getting to is it doesn't feel any different.
No. I mean, and things about me have changed. Yeah. And
you still like cars?
Yeah. Yeah. I still like cars. We're cool. My motivation and desire to work on them has reduced quite a bit. But I still thoroughly enjoy cars. Right. I mean, I refuse to drive anything that's not manual. Right. I wanted to have a decent power and sound good and handle well. So if it doesn't do those things, I'm not going to drive it.
So do you think the desire, is that a result of just you're so consumed with the paperwork and all the stuff you had to do, or is it just like, is it a feeling like of?
It's a feeling. I mean, I'm not ashamed to say it, but I definitely suffer from depression pretty regularly. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times people with that are transgender have depression as well, because it kind of goes hand in hand with the aspects of being transgender. Right. And so that has some to do with it, just not having the motivation or the drive or the energy to work on cars, much less make it to work on time type thing. So a lot of my energy is spent just continuing to do a good job at work, because I can't let myself do a bad job. Right.
And it's not even, I mean, nobody wants to do a bad job, but in your case, with the transitioning over, is just going to be like, it's going to be like, because of that or something like that. So I would definitely want to talk about the work situation later. But far as, like I said, you're doing the hormone, you're doing the pills, like, so you definitely physically feel a difference, and do you feel a difference?
I mean, I have boobs.
Yeah, I know.
They're legit boobs. I haven't had surgery to get boobs. They are full on just normal breast tissue growth.
But do you feel like any, like from before you were taking the pills, do you feel like a strength? Do you feel like
I'm definitely a lot happier. I'm more confident. I'm more willing to express myself. I laugh more frequently. I have a wider range of emotions. So before I transitioned, my emotional range was very limited. Right. I would go from like to like super depressed. Right. And I wouldn't really feel anything aside from kind of okay or depressed. Yeah. And now I can go from crying because of a movie, or being extremely happy because I got a new piece of makeup, or I got my car parts in, or something. Like I have a wider range of emotions. I get excited for simple things. I'm able to laugh at jokes easier. It's easier for me to make light of rough situations. Right. So it's definitely improved my mental state a lot. I think a little bit differently now. It's just kind of goes hand in hand, I guess.
Well, that's the, I mean, on that, the pill. I don't know anything about it. Doing any research into it, but I'm assuming that, like, again, you're taking the pills. You said there's a patch and there's the injection. Like, I mean, it's you're altering like your natural.
I'm altering my body's natural.
So, like,
state.
I'm pretty sure that kind of plays into like the way the brain does things. I mean, people who smoke or people who paint, like, people who huff or do whatever, anything that's gonna go into the system, it's gonna alter the system. So it's gonna change. And a lot of people don't think that. They think you are what you are. So my thing is, of course, again, being from the outside and only seeing it from the outside, I was like, all right, if I met somebody like that, I would react this way. And then again, it changed everything when I knew you as Tate, and then you transition over, and then again afterward I would be like, and I don't want to talk to her or whatever, and it doesn't, I just knew you needed it was a time you needed to make everything happen. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
It's my alarm. And make everything happen, and then again, not reading into it, but I mean, being educated and understanding how the body works. I knew it's not just like you hit a switch and bam, you're this. Yeah. So I did know enough to know that there's going to be some physical changes and things like that. And so as far as your voice, is that gonna start? Because I mean, right now it's the same.
It's very similar to what it used to be. It's a little bit higher.
Yeah, I could. Yeah,
just
definitely
a touch.
Yeah,
but I haven't been able to get rid of
a little bit of treble.
Yeah, I haven't been able to get rid of the masculine side of it, which is something that bothers me on a regular basis.
Well, I don't know if you watch Joe Rogan at all. Joe Rogan podcast. I don't think. Well, it was. I'll send you the link after you get off. He had about and the thing about it. We were talking before he had his guest, and he had a transgender person on, and he goes by Eddie Izzard, and he's a comedian, and I mean, looks like the dude looks like a. I mean, he's transitioned over and everything. He didn't get really into like the anatomical stuff and all that.
So for female to male, their hormones do a lot more for them than male to female. Okay. So testosterone takes a lot more effect on the body. It increases.
Well, he was male to female. So,
okay.
So, but he maintained, I guess, because I guess that's stage name. So if he changed to stage name, so maybe outside of that, he has
he probably has a different name.
So, but he goes by Eddie. He introduced him as Eddie Izzard, which I'll link you. It was cool to watch that because I was going down to Tokyo, so I watched the whole thing. It was like he was live. He's not live anymore, but as far as his podcast, so I was going down there and I was like, man, I'm gonna have Lianna on, and it's cool because I'm watching so I was picking up. I was actually learning a lot of stuff and. The biggest thing he was saying was like how he got in a few fights, and then I know the biggest thing everybody talk about is the one with the guy at GameStop, the ma'am.
Oh yeah.
So this ma'am or whatever, and
I saw that video.
I was like, this is the last thing.
Girl, what are you doing?
Yeah. So
what are you doing, girl?
So that person, I didn't. That was a guy going to
the same situation as me.
Yeah. So it was. Yeah, and then it was like, well, that's the thing when situations like that bring stuff back because you're transitioning over, but you still were a man, and you still maintain you're going to maintain some things until you're, I guess, fully over. But that he was pretty big, so he probably could have beat that guy's ass that was behind the counter if he wanted to.
Oh yeah,
because he was raging. And I was like,
what are we doing right now? I was completely floored. There were funny moments for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, this is some people cool, and then some people's like, oh, come on, man, calm down, because this is not what we need. This is exactly what everybody's going to think. And this even because I do martial arts, so there's a guy, she's a girl now called Fallon Fox, and she, transitioned over. But she was fighting. She's fighting women. But she,
she's got a
and
lot
she's
more
beating the hell.
natural muscle mass.
And then it kind of after the thing, I guess she didn't want to deal with it too much anymore, so she just went away.
Yeah.
But she was beating all the chicks up is because she was still transitioning over, but still had the power.
If you continue to work out and maintain your muscle as you transition, you don't lose very much of it.
Right. So, and that's the thing. All right. So for the hormones, like I'm assuming it's building estrogen, correct?
Yeah.
So is it a testosterone blocker or a?
So I take both a testosterone blocker and a estrogen supplement. Okay. So my testosterone used to be in the 700s, and it's down into the double digits, low double digits, and then my hormones were single digits, low double digits, and now they're up to like 120-ish, which is just about natural female levels. So they do their job pretty well. And
then is there, and again, even after, I guess you're fully, you say you're going to do the bottom and everything, you're fully you still are going to have to take some kind of every day.
I'll still have to take the estrogen supplements.
So
I probably won't have to take as much as I'm taking now, but I still will have to take estrogen.
So like I know we talked a little bit. I don't want to get too much into it because I know it's still like pending in the military and everything. You're currently active. If you decide to get out at whatever point, I got out after 6 years. If you decide to get out, then that's going to become more of like a burden on you have to pay for all that stuff, correct?
Yeah, and I either have to find a company that will cover it, or I have to pay for it myself.
Right, and then like so monthly? What is it looking like monthly, as far as like your bare minimum medication you would need to like take in order to?
From the research I've done, I believe my prescription is $60 a month.
60. It's not
terrible.
Not I was thinking like $600 or something like that.
It can get really expensive.
Yeah.
But lots of transgender people who are completely part-time jobs, working minimum wage, are still able to afford hormones.
Yeah. So like in this gee whiz, like if you don't take them, what happens?
Lots of bad things.
Yeah.
So my hair growth will increase, my breast size will decrease. Basically everything that I've gotten to change by taking hormones will reverse. So
you could pretty much just go back to 100%.
It's very risky to go back.
Yeah.
It's not healthy for the body at all, and it can cause a lot of issues. There are transgender people who do, and that's because of some choice that they had or some realization. I know I will never go back. But there are some that do, and it can be done, but it's risky.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, it's kind of because you're changing something to something else, and then going back. So body's like, do you make up your mind? Like, what do you want to do? And this, it's just. I can imagine.
Any surgery you get done is irreversible.
Yeah.
So, someone who gets a bottom surgery can't go back.
And that's, because I did see your, with Facebook, so I seen you. It was a female, and I guess so. Like, for as relationships, are you male or are you male female or lesbian? So, and that was a weird thing too. Not weird, but the Eddie Izzard. Transgender, but he still had a girlfriend. He had a girl. She had a girlfriend.
Yeah, so she's the same situation as me. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's,
that's something that a lot of people don't understand.
Apologies. It's hard to, because again, I knew you as Tate.
No,
so I definitely don't want to if anybody out there watching is like, this guy's a jerk. It's
not an easy switch.
Yes,
everyone struggles with it.
Yeah.
I misgender myself every once in a while.
Yeah.
So I
it's kind of like it's like the video where the person was she was saying something about the she whatever, and then she was like saying in the speech herself she was misgendering what she's trying to. It's out there. You'll see.
I've definitely misgendered myself in
But
quite a few
so it's
situations.
kind of difficult to do that. But anyway, it's the reason, and that's what I'm trying to get at, guys. Here, the reason why I brought her on is to let you know that again. I guess it's like you do something so repetitive, and you get used to that really quickly.
Mm-hmm. So I let my dad pass away without telling him because I knew he wouldn't be okay with it.
Yeah.
There was so when I decided to start going to an art school, he looked at me and was like, "Don't let this school make you gay."
He said that?
He said that. And my mom almost killed him.
Yeah.
She was so freaking mad. So her and I talked to her about it a lot, and her and I both agreed that it would not be a good idea to tell him.
So he was what did he pass away from?
He passed away from stage 4 melanoma.
Okay.
So he got diagnosed in June of 17.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, June of 17, and he had passed away in February of 18.
What like for those what is that disease?
Melanoma is skin cancer.
Skin cancer.
And it had recessed into his body and had affected his spinal cords, his kidney, his brain, his lungs, all sorts of things. It destroyed him basically.
It was like a slow.
No, melanoma is one of the fast acting. Once it represses into the body and it's no longer skin, it'll kill a person really quick. He was dead within 9 months.
Yeah, man.
So it was very fast.
Yeah. What kind of work did your dad do?
So he was a ski instructor in Breckenridge Ski Resort for over 40 years. And he also did irrigation.
So a lot of outside.
Yeah, he was outside all the time. So his entire job was spent outside.
Yeah, so
he wore sunscreen all the time. But I mean, when you're outside for 12 hours a day, every single day, you're gonna get.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's you do something so long, you get those, you work in those environments and things like that. No, your job, and this will shock people even more. Like we didn't get into like what you actually do.
Oh yeah.
You work on jet engines. You
You
build jet engines.
I'm a jet engine mechanic.
Yeah. So he's a transgender, building jet engines, a car person. So again, it's all
a makeup person. I've got a very wide.
So you're adding more skill sets, and then so again out there to people who are weirded out by it or whatever. I mean, it definitely. I mean, because again, putting yourself like I have 2 sons, and I gotta actually we have a girl due in like the next 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And so it's like one of those things where like you don't. It's like you don't. Again, from that point, that's another thing too. What would I do if one day my son said like he wanted to do this and everything? And was it?
It's different when it's your own kids.
Yeah.
But I mean, not to be mean or anything, but my personal belief is if you're not going to be able to accept a kid that is gay, transgender, bi, whatever they end up being, if you can't accept them, you shouldn't have kids. That's my personal belief.
I mean, people are going to, even them being 3, 1, it's like at 3 years, you can still see personality already.
And
so
a lot of kids will start showing that they're gay, or if it's a girl, lesbian or something early on, like 5 years old ish is where you usually start seeing it. Because I mean, it's not something that we choose. I didn't choose to be transgender. There's nothing fun about being transgender. Nothing fun whatsoever. And so when people are like, "Oh, why'd you make this choice?" The only choice I made was to be myself. So that's just another thing that.
So he said the thing when I'm getting like he made the comment about like don't let the school make you gay or whatever. So like did he kind of already have feelings or like kind of thoughts that you were different or?
Oh yeah. I grew up dancing, so I've done all sorts of dance for 13 years, tap, jazz, hip hop, breakdancing, you name it, I did it. That was my main hobby. I was not a fan of sports. I tried a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And some of them I was okay at, but didn't enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Dance I enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
I loved dancing. And so that's one of the things that was like, yeah, maybe I should go to an art school.
Right.
Because dance is performing arts.
That was high school.
Yeah, that was in high school that I went to the art school.
Mm-hmm.
I actually ended up focusing in theater and vocal
Mm-hmm.
rather than dance, but it was still performing arts.
Mm.
And that school did not make me gay.
Yeah.
It did not make me gay.
So that's where it gets. That's where the education's coming right now. So all right, transgender transitioning over. So is that considered? Is it because gay is generally people is opposite. I mean, well, same sex.
So
same sex.
Gender and sexuality and sex are three different things.
Mm-hmm.
So sex is the organs you're given
mm-hmm.
at birth.
Mm-hmm.
So my sex is male. Gender is how you present yourself
mm-hmm.
to the world. So my gender is female.
Mm-hmm.
And then your sexuality is what you're attracted
mm-hmm.
to. And I can go on forever about all the different sexualities if you want me to, but that's a big whole rabbit hole. But my sexuality is lesbian
mm-hmm.
because I am a female that is attracted to females.
Mm-hmm.
There's some people that used to identify as gay, but they transitioned to female, so now they're straight.
Mm-hmm.
And some people that used to identify as lesbian but transition and also are now
mm-hmm.
straight. And I thought I was just a straight white male,
mm-hmm.
but then I started to come to the realization of who I really am. And
was there like a key, like something you watched or something you heard or something that triggered, like, I guess, and just kind of like it was there, and then it just kind of atomic bomb exploded?
That was kind of the light bulb moment I told you about
mm-hmm.
with going to Rocky Horror was kind of the moment, I guess. And then when I was at Shaw, I dated a girl and talked to her about like how I had worn female clothes and all that. Mm. And so she kind of brought the idea up, was like, hey, maybe you're transgender. Mm. And she referenced a TV show that I like called Glee. Mm. There's a male to female transgender character on there, and she referenced her. So she was like, well, maybe you're like unique. And I was like, maybe, I don't know. I haven't come to that conclusion. And at that time I was still like, I don't really want to get rid of anything.
Right.
So I hadn't fully come to terms with it at that point, but she did get me thinking about it more frequently. So that did help with the coming to terms with it, but that was back in 2015. So still a year away before I finally was like, yep, I want to transition and I want to be as female as I can possibly be.
Have you been back home since?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Everyone in my family that is still alive knows. My dad passed away in February of 18, and then this last February my grandfather passed away, and I didn't tell him either because my mom and I agreed that he probably wouldn't take it well, and he and I were really close, so I didn't really want to ruin that.
Yeah, that's kind of getting on a blowback part. Again, I mentioned a little bit, in Japan, if you watch Japanese TV at all, one thing you'll see every night, there's one, the most famous, I don't know if it was this dress, because some of them dress up, but they're not trans, they just do it for
drag
that.
Queens.
They just do it, so they just do that. And then there's a couple, I don't know if the Moscow, just like the real big heavy-set Japanese one that you always see. If you're watching it, she's always on TV. And they see it a lot. And then, like, when she said it, she was shocked. I'm like, every night there's transgender or drag queen they're on TV. So, like, why is it like
why is it weird?
Why is it weird? And she just, I guess she didn't know she didn't know Americans or, like, it's everywhere. And I'm like, I mean,
it doesn't matter
some of the
what
best,
your nationality and race is.
Some of the best, as you know, is everybody knows. It's like, the Bangkok, Thailand, the ones where you're looking at the pictures like, man, she looks good, and it's like, dude, that's a guy, and everybody like gets like, everybody
traps, as everyone likes to call them.
Yeah, so especially on the maintainer page, they'll post stuff up and it's like,
those pages are full of stuff like that.
So they'll post stuff up like that. So it's just crazy.
Luckily,
there.
I'm not So the drag queen word for it is fishy. So the more girly you look, the fishier you are.
And drag queen, just to clarify, drag queen is a guy that is.
So a drag queen is a guy that does female illusions.
So he's still everything.
He's
100%.
He identifies as male.
RuPaul is
a drag queen. Yep. So a lot of people use he, him, and she, her for RuPaul because when he's in drag, it's she, but when he's out of drag, it's he. So
I think that, speaking of that, now that it makes sense, because most of those, the ones that are on Japanese TV, I think they're mainly drag, because as far as I know, they just kind of appear, but they don't touch on like anything as far as any medical or changes or surgeries. Yeah. So I think most of them are just drag.
Yeah. And some drag queens do end up transitioning. I think on RuPaul's Drag Race, there's been 3 or 4 that have transitioned, but no, not every drag queen is anywhere near a transgender person. They're just a male who likes to do female illusions, and some of them are scary good at it. Yeah. And the ones that look straight up female when they're in drag are called fishy. So luckily I'm not as fishy as others, because then people won't be posting my pictures saying, "Oh, this bitch is a trap." Yeah. Like, no.
What about like base? Like, we'll talk about that in a second. But like, have you going around? So pretty much, you every day. I'm
female every day.
So like at when you're home, are you kind of like just no makeup and you're just chilling, or how's that? Or
it depends on the day. Like when I go to work, I don't usually put on makeup because it's hot. We don't have AC. It's a maintenance area, so you have to worry about like keeping your face clean, and it's just a lot of extra effort in the morning. So when I was on day shift, I was waking up at 3 a.m. to do my makeup, and I didn't have to be to work till 6.
So have you had any new troops come in the shop since like?
Oh.
So like they do they like not talk to you first when they like go in the corner like all right, so what's going on here, and like who's the most shocked, women or guys?
Mostly guys.
Mostly guys.
And I mean, we have more guys, so that's kind of how I noticed that it's mostly guys. Yeah. But I mean, all the girls in the shop are super chill about it.
Yeah. So. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, that's one thing you see a lot of. A lot of women, they're ultra supportive, and I don't know if like on base, have you got like on base, how is it? I would say the daily, you get, and I'm pretty sure, because I mean I'm a black guy in Japan with a mohawk, and so
you stand out pretty good.
So like I get stared, like I mean when people stare at me, I actually look back at them, because like one is like kind of teaching them a life lesson, like don't, like some people are like I guess they'll know that people. They stand out, and they know that people are looking at them, but they'll feel like kind of ashamed about it. And me is like, like, all right, I'm acknowledging that you're looking at me, then they'll turn away. Yeah. So I do that. I make it's fun for me to do it.
Oh, it's funny as shit when someone's staring at you and you're just like, yes, bitch, and they're like, fuck.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you seem like, I see. I just scan people naturally, so when you see people, I can feel like.
I can feel eyes on me so like, everywhere I go. Doesn't matter what I'm wearing.
So pretty much every day, like you go to the BX, you go.
It doesn't matter where I go.
You go to Burger King.
Eyes.
You go to Burger King and you order it, and you pull up and they're like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely get that double take pretty regularly.
Yeah, I figure it was like that, Yeah. So and for the Japanese, do they?
Oh, the Japanese stare worse than the Americans. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. I mean, because if you're a normal person, they look at. I'm not saying you're a normal person, but if you're
if you are it's called cisgender. So if you're cisgender, then they stare anyways. Yeah. It's just because I'm a white person in Japan.
It's like, oh, it's my school. It's like they seen it on TV, but they never see it, because all the drag. I'll ask my wife to confirm, but I don't think any of them transition over. They just dress up drag. So
which makes sense
for them. They'll see it and everything. Actually, no. I take that back. There's a couple. There's a couple of them that actually, one guy is, he's got boobs and everything. So I think It's a bunch of them, but some are more popular. The more popular ones, I think, are drag. The ones that are not as popular, And I think it might be a reason why, because Japan kind of Japanese are some of the most horniest, crazy people. But they on the outside they kind of like they regress it. But if you look online, they're into some crazy stuff.
They're into some crazy stuff. So, but they hide it all behind locked doors. They're like, nope.
Yeah. So they actually do this. Like for example, like pedophiles is somebody posted something the other day. There was a meet and greet for grown guys for kid celebrities. So they're holding these kids up and they're like taking pictures and posing with them.
That's creepy.
And this is like dude, like this. I'm not talking about a little park. I'm talking about thousands of grown dudes, like look like they're all single. Like most of them are out of shape.
They're the creepy ones that sit in their mom's basement. Very creepy
ones. The same ones that I kind of despise when I go to Tokyo Auto Salon. They got all the cameras and and I'm like, are you professional? Like, no, I'm just gonna take these home and look at them. Like, you got $10,000 worth of camera gear to take pictures that you're not going to do anything with.
Yeah,
so,
like, sell those things, make some freaking money.
Yeah, the Japanese,
not everyone can make it to Japanese auto salons.
So that's like the reason I asked that, because it's just weird to. I was wondering how
Yeah, no, I definitely get those looks pretty regularly.
Yeah. So and then for as is anybody like, I mean, as far as your workplace and your not your schedule or whatever, but you like working nights right now, right?
Yep.
So was that a move like to put you away from like the daily stuff, or was it?
I mean, I've been on days post transition.
Mm-hmm.
I went to ALS post transition, so I've been in some pretty high vis areas, and I don't think my shop's ashamed of me. And I haven't had any like obvious blatant disrespect for it. I just personally prefer night shift. I function better during those hours than I do for a day shift.
Because I seen you on your Instagram. You had the were you accepting you had an award or something you were getting?
That was my ALS graduation.
ALS, and that that was. I mean, looking at it,
I used that post for a soapbox moment.
Yeah,
pretty bad.
Yeah, so it went around. I think, did it make the Airman NCO page, or did it make that page?
I didn't look at that page.
That
page hope it did. Yeah. I freaking hope it did.
Yeah, because it got shared. I seen you got shared around a little bit, and the
I made it public so that people could find it and see it, and I tagged it with all the tags that were related to what it was going on, and I was. When I made that post, I was mad. Well, I was mad.
The thing about it, I asked about the support group, and the reason I asked about that is because if it's not one, I'm pretty sure you're getting out. But that would be a great opportunity. The way I always think in business is like, that would be something you can create for military members. Maybe people are going to get in active or going to get out and stuff like that. That way, because it got to be some kind of, because you're transgender. But transgender and military is different.
It's a whole different field.
It's a whole different field, and you're like now you're in a very small.
There's a very small demographic.
So that how do you see it going like in the future? Far as do you think it's going to be based on who's in office? Because with the Trump thing, I think that was a lot of he has a lot of bravado with his style or whatever. But I think number one, between trying to save money to build a wall and all that stuff, that's the whole car shipment stuff came down because of the wall stuff. And
stupid wall
his personal, like, he kind of puts that out there. Well, everything has to be tough and everything has to be displayed and things like that. How do you think? Do you think it's going to change back or flip flop or what do you think?
So I think a lot of it has to do with which party is in office, not necessarily the person, but which party. So once he started making all these bans and laws against the more liberal groups, a lot of people voted to put more liberals in Congress, and now he's kind of stuck because the Democrats have the majority. So he's kind of just at a standstill with everything he wants to do. He can't really get it past the House. So that's a good thing, I think. I think some of the things that he has tried to put in office are less than ethical. Obviously, I don't want to talk poorly of a president.
Because you got you're still military, so
Yeah, I don't want to
That's
talk
the
poorly
boss.
of him. It's just they're I'm still allowed to have my own personal opinion, and it is my own personal opinion. It's not an opinion of the Air Force or anything.
Yeah.
It's just a personal opinion that some of the things he's done are
it's
not in everyone's best interest.
It's not North Korea, so you can talk a little bit, but it's for the people out there that don't know, military president is
he's
the
my
top
boss.
top of the guy. So
he's number one boss.
Number one guy. So you got to be careful on that. And my hopes is this this podcast definitely gets out there and everything. So that it is what it is. It'll happen. I'll promote it and things like that. But I think it's a good thing. So as far as for what do you see after the military? I know you said you have a girlfriend.
I don't anymore, but I did.
Oh, okay. So that already.
Yeah, she wasn't able to handle the long distance stuff.
Yeah, that's tough.
And I mean that's just a normal issue with any long distance relationship.
Yeah.
And I think it's a little harder for anyone who's a member of the LGBT community because it's not a prominent Japanese thing. They don't have a massive pride thing.
Yeah.
And the community's not really represented very much here. And then on top of that, we're at a military base where the amount of people that are actually in the community is very small to begin with. And almost all the people that are in the community are already married, and that's the only reason they're here. So it's a little hard for anyone to find a significant other here. And then so you have to look elsewhere.
Have you done any online stuff? Or
yeah, I've done. That's how I met my previous girlfriend. It's just a side effect, I guess, of the way things are. I think it would be a little easier for me to find someone if I was stateside.
Yeah,
or
definitely. Yeah, because
in a location that
everybody's a minority over here. That's gaijin. So yeah, you're definitely. That's one of the things. You definitely would have an easier time. I mean, I don't know much about it, but I would.
Depending on the area. Yeah.
So when you get out, if we talk about that a little bit. If you decide to separate and everything, once you separate, is there a particular state you're looking at going, or you're looking at living in states at all? How's it?
So, if things were ideal, I would like to go somewhere like New Zealand or Australia, because they have really good laws for LGBT people and great environment. They still have access to all the Japanese cars and parts and stuff.
Yeah. So they're pretty chill. So I didn't know. So they're open.
They are some of the best countries. The best one is actually Denmark, but that's too cold for me.
Yeah,
too cold for me.
Too cold, and Denmark's it's the middle cluster of Europe. Is it the middle?
Denmark's up in the north by Norway.
So you've been here for what, 3 years?
I've been here for 3.5 years.
And it's
too cold here.
The spring and summer
spring and summer is
awesome.
Hot.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Misawa, is nice and everything, but the winter is just
winter's cold and just uncomfortable.
It's miserable. I mean, it's
lots of snow.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize pushing through this stuff to run in the shop is like an ice box in here.
Oh yeah.
And I got heat.
I've been
heaters,
in here in the winter. It's cold.
Yeah. Well, I got heaters now. So when you were here, I first got out in that. So I keep the door. That's why everybody's like, you're closed. I'm like, no, the door.
No, the door's closed.
Keeping in
the
heat.
Now.
So I got the heater now. I'm gonna get another one, and I got the little space heater that heats this up because even the customer comes in here. It's kind of cool. But yeah, so far like you said, so Denmark and everything, and so you're definitely looking at the.
I've looked at the overseas. I haven't looked into what would get me citizenship there, or what steps I need to take, or how much it'll cost to get there.
Yeah.
But that would be ideal situation. For the time being, I'll probably just go back to the States and probably stick West Coast, Washington, Oregon, California, somewhere in there. I'd like to go back to Washington because that's where a lot of my friends from the States are. There's a good LGBT community up there.
Right.
The laws are good, all that. But the housing up there is expensive.
Yeah.
So that's one of the main things that I'm hesitant about going back there. But I could get it figured out.
Yeah. So you definitely want to make things more favorable for you because you got it. I mean, I'm fine with it, but everybody's not me.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, it really sucks is a lot of people don't they don't keep open mind to things. I mean, there's even, some, I guarantee you, I mean, I'm gonna post, this video is gonna be up there, and I'm gonna get an inbox like, why would you do it? I'm like, dude, because number one, I do what the fuck I want to do.
Exactly.
And number two, like, it's, again, I think most people, until they know somebody before they transition over, whether it be female to male, male to female, you still know that person as how you met them. Mm-hmm. Like, if I met you as already transitioned, it'll be like, or because when you messaged me before you came here, right?
Yep. I was still stateside when I messaged you.
I posted the car up and you were like coming here,
yep.
And then so of course, I mean, I'm not one of those people on Facebook. I don't click on people's profile and look through their stuff, and then try to find insults like people do online. I'm like, dude, I'll just talk to the person. All right, it's a guy name, it's a girl name, whatever. But I didn't look on your actual profile, and I think your profile picture was a Miata at the time or something like that.
I don't remember what my profile picture was, but yeah, it was probably my Miata. I love that car.
Yeah, so it was something like that, and then so yeah, no, actually, no, it was a picture of you, and I think you had a gray coat, or is it coat or?
I'm gonna go find it now because now I'm curious.
It was definitely you, and you had it was like you were just there smiling. And you had a like a jacket or something on, man. With the
well, let's go find out because I don't remember.
Yeah.
At all. Let's see, photos. Where are my photos? I don't even remember how to do this stuff anymore.
Yeah, they change it so much. Like, you wake up, like, there's a new update. Like, I didn't ask for that. Yeah.
I think it was this one. Yeah. That was me at my lake cabin for my 21st birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was being a goof. My dad took that picture.
Yeah, you're on a boat?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's our speedboat.
Yeah. But, yeah. So, speaking of, is the Miata still there, or?
Yep, Miata's still stateside.
Yeah, actually, you see that? You see the tag you on Instagram?
I commented on it. I was like, I can't tell you how many times I've been tagged in this, but every time it's still great.
Yeah, you're one of the only. I mean, I don't know, Miata. Everybody talks trash about Miata. It's like, call them. It's funny. It's like funny now.
Oh, it's hilarious now because everyone's like, "Oh, you got a girl car." I'm like, "Yeah,
I
do. Yeah, fucking do."
Exactly, you know what I'm thinking about. So yeah, it's like cool. So it's like, yeah, okay. So now you can get the L. What's that? The Lexus, the drop top, which they call it a girl car, and all the.
I can't remember what the model of that one is. It's like 400. GL.
Yeah, that one, the Infinity. So cool. Yeah, I can get all the girl cars now because I'm a girl. So it's like
I can get the girly and the male masculine cars.
That's idiots. People, Miatas out there. They run NASA, SCCA. They're great balance and
perfect balance.
Lightweight,
handled beautifully. Great suspension setup.
Yeah,
like I love that car.
Yeah. So that's I think it's. Maybe it'll change. I think with the social media and everything, and people is out there more. You can see it more. It's not so much as it's like taboo back before MySpace and all that stuff. That now people actually you can get on there and research, find out for yourself.
Having the research for all this stuff helped me to come to terms with it.
Versus somebody doing it
I couldn't imagine doing it when I wasn't able to be like, okay, so what are some of the symptoms? How did other people come to terms with it? Like, if I didn't have that resource, I couldn't even imagine it. It would be a whole different ball game.
I'll link it to the one, the Eddie Izzard, because I knew he was older, but she was older, but like when she said she was like starting and coming up and everything, she did it back in the 80s.
That's a long freaking time ago.
So
Holy crap.
So he was, Rogan was asking like, you go watch it. I'm not here to promote this podcast, but it was, same thing, in his next podcast after that, he was saying, well, it's just like I was talking to, like, again, as I don't, of course I physically can see the changes and everything, but it just feels just like the same when we were talking and everything. And then like, I kind of, about, as far as when you got here, I kind of could see like you were like kind of like not standoffish, but,
I was closed off a little bit.
Yeah.
I was colder. I just wasn't as open about anything, and now I'm just there's a different air. Yeah, my aura, I guess, for lack of better terms, has changed.
Now that we're at where we're at right now, I kind of now that I look back and when I first met you, it's like you had you already knew what you knew what you were, what you wanted to become, but it's like
I hadn't accepted it in myself.
And then it's like even though like I didn't know, nobody knew. It's like you knew that, so you knew eventually maybe they're gonna find out, they're gonna change or whatever. And it's like you kind of like I just now again this feels it kind of come full circle. So now that you're transitioning over and everything, it's so now it kind of makes sense, man. 'Cause I was like I didn't know. Because even with the engine stuff went down and everything, my style also kind of didn't help either because I'm very direct. We had to remember when Tyler was here and I had to.
You and him butt heads regularly.
Well, the thing is because I do things properly.
I fully agree, and it helped me to be better at what I do too.
So that's what I was saying because I gave the space was allotted, but what I was getting back at to was like I understand getting the help for things, but it's just like for the engine, it has to be only one set.
Yep.
And when you got too many guys doing too many things,
it gets messed up. It did get messed up.
Yeah, and it was when it happened. I'm like, I know you put the machine work in there and things. The engine, the thing about it, there was normally you have a spun rod before the engine build.
I don't think. Yeah. It didn't actually spin.
Yeah, it was definitely something was off.
I think the bearing cap might have gotten put on backwards, so that the lubrication wasn't getting in there. I think it was. So the cap is only supposed to go on one way. And then I think it got put on the other way, and that resulted in not enough proper lubrication.
It happens because with Kwong, he just got his car back recently because right before we went TDY again. He was building it here because he does a lot of stuff for me here, but I was like hands off.
Yeah.
So until he would sit there for like 4 or 5 hours, and I'm like, all right, man, because he would never ask me. And I would go over there, what are you doing? Whatever. And then all right, do this that way. Then
Well, that's the thing with Quan is he's not as mechanically inclined as I am.
Yeah.
Like I can take something apart and put it back together without any help, and usually not mess it up.
Yeah. So he did pretty good. He learned a lot of stuff. He built that, but then one thing he got to everything. The bottom was done properly. He did everything himself. Did all his rings, everything. I didn't touch anything.
Good.
Only thing I did for him, because it was kind of more advanced, was he converted his block from rear-wheel drive to all-wheel drive.
Yeah,
so I had to drill into the part of it and tap it. I showed him how to do it.
Yeah.
But what he did wrong, and it is out there already, he put the his cam caps. He put them. They were like every other cam cap was backwards.
Oh no.
So the camshaft was literally being pulled.
Yeah, it was wiggling back and forth.
So as a result, they put the ones that were off as the ones in the front, and then he said he was hearing ticking, and I'm like, yeah, it's not good, man. So let's shut it down. And then if he would have drove it like I told him 2 more miles, they would have snapped the camshaft in half, blew the engine.
Yeah.
And that, he had the oversized pistons and all that stuff.
Yep, that was suck.
So he took it apart, and I'm looking at it, and then the actual what happened because it was off inside of the bucket actually because it can't come out. It just worked its way around, so it was supposedly straight up and down. It was tapered, so it actually was hugging. It was hugging in the valve.
Yeah.
So it would have snapped the valve. It would have snapped the. It would have broke everything, and it was moving
once
around.
the valve snaps, it's going to fall straight down into the cylinder, and
so
the piston's going to chew that thing to pieces.
So he luckily seen that. We got him a new set of. Got a new set. It took
he
forever.
Actually mentioned that.
It took forever to find them because it's not something that people really.
People don't usually replace the lifters in RBs anyways.
So I've
seen a few solid lifter conversion kits, but
and that's what he had a Neo. So Neo's same like the it's a bucket over shim.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bucket. It's actually
I thought it was a hydraulic bucket.
No, it's not hydraulic at all. The RB25, the S1, S2 are hydraulic, and for those it's inside which you don't rebuild them because it's a pain in the ass. So it goes. There's a actually for his. It just sits over top, and then the shim is on the top. So the shim is on top of the bucket, but it's a kind of like solid, almost solid-ish. But the 26 are the same. So anyway, like the long story short, he this like your situation with the bearing, he put him in backwards. So it's like, was that your first engine build?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So I mean that
first engine builds are always going to have some sort of issue because they're it's a big, complicated process, and I'm used to building a jet engine, but there's years of experience before me that are there to answer my questions and prevent things from going wrong, and there's checks and balances in place to ensure things get done right, and it's a different beast.
So that I think I didn't actually. Luckily, my first engine that didn't have issues with is my third or fourth engine I built. It was a 25, and actually I did a lot of stuff wrong on it. I didn't know until I started getting parts for it. It was all-wheel drive block, and I didn't know the all-wheel drive block and the rear-wheel drive were different. So the oil pickups and everything were different. It was set up for the RB26.
You have to relocate the oil pickup and everything.
Well, the problem with that was I did it on a weekend, and I was supposed to be at an event, so I kind of rushed it. So I shaved it down, so it wasn't. It was like the oil pickup was like there was like the circle, and it was like half. So it was like half the oil was going wherever I wanted to go. So I kind of put a gasket there and hoped the gasket would, but it ended up sucking up air.
Oh,
so
no.
it was half oil and then half air, and I guess the gasket worked away from all the pressure. Didn't account for that, and it took it to MSP. This is back in like 2009, and I did a couple laps, and I heard some clicking, and it blew right in the parking lot, like just
boom.
Yeah.
It
was seized right there, and so I won't do it. So it was like, and it wasn't for a customer, and it was honestly, I didn't have the cash, and I was just piecing together. I had a bunch of spare parts.
Yeah.
I was piecing stuff together, and it happens. But lesson learned. Don't do that.
Yeah. Don't shave down your oil pickets.
Yeah, the oil is like kind of needs oil and everything. So
it's kind of the lifeblood of the engine.
Yeah. Before as the like I say, the car stuff, like so I mean, you got the two cars there. You said like the desire there is not really there like it was before. So
yeah, it's gone down.
It's kind of more of a slow. Like you're still gonna stay in it, but
yeah, I still like racing. I still like having nice fast cars, and I still have plans to build cars. It's just I'm not in a good state as it is right now to be doing that. I mean, I've got $6,500 worth of parts sitting in my garage that are ready to go on the 4-door, but I just haven't done it because I don't have the drive or the motivation. And there's still like 2 or 3 other things I have to buy that I haven't picked up yet. Like I need to get a bunch of fuel lines so that I can build the fuel system.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get a fuel pressure regulator, and I need to get a exhaust manifold because I tried ordering like 2 hybrid performance ones.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of them showed up.
Did you get your cash back?
No.
I'll handle that. So you actually paid for?
I paid $550 for a manifold, and it never came.
Email or?
I have Facebook. I messaged him a bunch, and I was like, "Hey, I never got this." He was like, "Okay, I'll send you another one."
I'll talk.
And then I hit him up again,
Yeah.
like a week after he said he sent it out.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Hey, do you have a tracking number?" Like I didn't want to mess this one up again, so I was like,
"Because you got the one that's on the other car."
Yeah, I got that one.
Kind of
through you though.
I'll talk to because I mean you paid once or twice.
I only paid once.
All right, and you didn't get a product, so I'll get that.
Yeah, I messaged him on Facebook like
because
5 or 6
he had
times.
I mean he had some. I mean that's not an excuse, but he had some. I kind of same thing. I messaged him a few times.
Yeah,
and he was telling me he had some.
And that's fine.
Yeah,
that's life.
But still,
he makes really high quality parts, and
but still,
I really like that.
We're gonna get that. So as soon as we get done with this, I'm gonna message him like, "Hey man, I need this manifold to come in and everything," and But anyway, I don't want to put too much of this personal stuff out there. But life happens. It's kind of the same thing with the business here. So,
I mean, you're in and out of here all the time because you constantly have different things going on.
You understand that, but most people don't. And they're like, "Hey man, you're not here."
They didn't help you move into this building.
Yeah, I'm in Yokohama handling, and I don't. One thing I don't. I'm like, I'm not here because when I was told kind of. And I'm like, look, man, I'm not giving nobody excuses because I don't owe anybody. Like, only people I owe my time to
is your wife and your kids.
Them, and then as far as customer-wise, is if your car is in my bay, then I'll keep you updated. I don't leave you off the hook. But the thing about it, like I tell everybody, is if there's no reservation, there's no business. And it's risky running a business reservation-based. But
I mean,
it gets done quicker.
And you have enough of a customer base to where you can do that.
Yeah.
Like... I mean, I talk you up all the time.
Yeah, thanks.
All
thanks for
the
that.
time.
It gets back to me. There's a few guys out there that have things to say.
Every time people are like, "Where should I go to get this done?" I'm like, "Well, if you're trying to do performance stuff, go to Donnie. If you're trying to do just basic stuff, go elsewhere."
Yeah,
but
and that's cool. Everybody is,
I talk to you up all the time. People are like, "Where can I get my car tuned?" I'm like, "Donnie."
And but the thing about it, like most, and I used to take it personal. Most people have their buddies, and their buddies will say things or whatever, and it's because I'll get guys that would come, they would just drop in, and I'm like, look, man, like I'll I got better at it when they first year. I'd be like, I'm busy, and then I was like, man, I gotta kind of change that because they are coming here, spending their time, and I'm like, yeah, look, you got email. It's better to email or call a hit because I'm not gonna. If I got a piston in my hand, I'm not gonna put that piston down.
Heck no, because you're trying to get everything right on that one piston.
So
like,
and that's you just don't do that, and so you put it on, and next thing you know, you got a control ring or a piston ring, oil ring sitting right there, like fuck.
Where did that one go? Yeah.
It's supposed to be inside the engine. So that's and so I'm very focused on that stuff, and most guys, again, thanks for standing up for me because a lot of guys, I'm like, dude, you can. With social media again, you can look online. If somebody's a shitbag, like you can look online. And the thing about it, this not if they're a shitbag to you, it's not the first time. No, so they got a track record. And I'm like, dude, you can go online and Google my name, Google my tags on the forums. Like I've done nothing but help this community. It's just that I don't I don't walk into anybody's business and like, hey, serve me or whatever. I'm like, dude, you wait your turn. When I take something to a machine shop, I wait. I reserve it so I get it done quicker. But I just don't go in there and like drop the head off. Like, hey, do this right now. Like that doesn't work.
No, you drop it off and say, hey, can you do this when you got time? Yeah. And then you get in when line. They got time, they do it and they hit you up like, hey, your part's done. Yeah. Cool. Thanks.
So I get a lot of that. I don't know why people, they just, instead of like, coming to me because I'll hear guys I'm like, I never even met this guy. Like, how can you have a problem with somebody that you never met? You know what I mean? So it's like, whatever. I don't want to beat that up because I've already talked about that a bunch of my own, but I want to talk more about your situation. So, one thing I know is we were talking about the transition and everything, and you say you don't get the surgery for the organ change or however they're going to do that. Like, have you done for, like, a reason I asked about the relationship and asked about the, girlfriend, are you, like, for kids, are you done any sperm freezing?
I am 100% sterile, and I do not have anything saved.
Okay.
It was intentional because I don't want kids. Okay. I'm not, like, nothing against kids. No. At all.
So you just don't want to deal with the whole.
Honestly, I'm too selfish. So with my own money, with my own time. I'm just too selfish. I like to spend my money where I want to spend my money. If I want to buy a $2,600 turbo, I'm going to buy a $2,600 turbo. If I want to spend $1,000 on makeup, I'm going to spend $1,000 on makeup. Like, I mean, it's what I like to do. It's part of my hobby. I like having a lot of clothes that I can play with, and I like being able to drive my car that has really low gas mileage and not worry about having to pay for gas. Like, I like to have my racing seats and not have to worry about putting a car seat in it. Like,
It's I mean, it's definitely, coming from, it's funny, I got 2 and 1 on the way right now, but 6 years ago, I was never having a wife, never having.
Oh yeah, when I first got you here, you weren't even married yet.
Yeah, when it was like, the thing about it is just like, it wasn't that I didn't want to be, it's just that the people I was meeting, they didn't match my drive.
Yeah, it didn't match what you
needed.
And
I dated a few, and I'm like, she's lazy, she don't do nothing. This one is like, it was a trend that I was meeting because I don't care for like having like petite women or whatever, but it's like some kind of a maintenance. And when I met them, and then a little bit after, they just start like did nothing and everything. I'm like, this is not. Now I went snowboarding with a couple of them, and they couldn't go down a mountain once. I'm like, this is not gonna work.
I've spent 12 hours on a mountain. Yeah. Come on now, people.
Yeah, so I met my wife, and I met her, she drove Evo 7, so I was like, cool.
We good. Let's go.
Yep. Yeah, so I never had to try to convert her to like she liked cars for herself. Yep. For herself. Like, and her
she
brother
understands your business and where you spend your money and why you spend your money there and all that.
Yeah, it was a no-brainer, and I was like, we dated. We got then we got married, but she popped up pregnant or whatever.
Yep, I remember that.
And
I remember you being like, man, I'm pregnant. Yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah, so
I was shocked. I was like, you went from not wanting to be married to having a kid.
Yeah.
Damn.
This kind of crazy.
3 of them.
This kind of crazy. But I will tell you though, it doesn't it's enhanced my life because without like, I mean, and it's kind of weird because I'm like I do everything myself, but without her, like I couldn't. She was like pretty much my green card into Japan. So I mean, I couldn't do even if with all the drive determination I had to do this business. You
had to have her to help.
Because that bridge, without her, they're not going to take the gamble. Yep. Even with her, they still like kind of like.
They were super hesitant with you in the beginning. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So now the guy, 3 years later, the guy looks over here and is like, I'm busy as hell, and he's
super
like,
fucking busy.
He's it's it's like whatever, man. It's whatever. Yeah. So it's just.
I mean, it's just proving yourself to the people in the community.
Yeah. That's all. So but as far as like I say, after the military. If you get done with that, you're not going to do 20 years. Because I was doing 20 years, and I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. After my third deployment, is there a certain career field you're looking at going into, or is that tough?
That's a tough decision because I've got a skill set in maintenance that I don't want to use.
Yeah.
Like I'm good at my job.
You can build jet engines.
I'm good at my job. Like I will brag about it all day long. I'm good at my job. People can yell at me and say I'm narcissistic. I don't care. Hey. I'm good at my freaking job. Just like you say, I'm good at what I freaking do. I know.
It's better to be sure about it because
I'm sure of myself at work. I can.
There's no maybe about $1 million jet engine.
Not a $3 million freaking jet engine. Nope.
Yeah.
But I'm good at my job. Mm-hmm. I've got this skill set and I'm good at it, but I don't want to use it at all. So I don't like maintenance as a job. Working on cars as a hobby, hell yeah, that can be a lot of fun. It's very rewarding. You get to feel the results of it, everything. But working on anything for me as my job is just excessively draining. And it takes away a lot of the fun from doing it for myself. So I've got this skill set that I don't want to use. So what do I do? And one thing about the military is they kind of make you think in a closed mindset.
Yeah, that's why I don't like it. Yeah.
I feel like I'm only good at this, but I mean, I think I'm pretty good at makeup. I've got good people skills. I can act reasonably well. Like I've got a bunch of other.
The reason I asked that because you got it the way my mind is going 1,000 miles per hour right now, and it's like you have so many being part military, being transgender. It's like the social media stuff there. You got it like. Some people shy away from it, but I mean, you use it to your advantage, and there's so many different things you can start up. Military, prior military, something, makeup or whatever. So you got a, person that was prior military, transitioning over transgender, prior military, working with build jet engines, and now you're selling makeup. So like the story is like there.
Yep.
It's like you got. So that's why I don't see you working for nobody.
No.
To be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, right now I'm looking at being a makeup artist, and
you think about starting a YouTube channel and stuff like that?
Yeah, the only issue about that for me, like I was really nervous about even this because I know I sound extremely masculine when I talk into anything that's digital.
Yeah,
and it bothers me a little bit because obviously I don't want people to like look at my stuff and be like, oh, that's a dude wearing makeup.
Well, that's why I want you to watch. That's why I want you. I keep bringing Eddie Ears one. I want you to watch that because transgender, but sounds like straight up 100% guy.
Yeah, and there are a lot of transgender females that don't change their voice.
Personally, is this
It's a personal thing for me. Yeah, I like to have my voice sound feminine. It's just.
Without forcing,
without making it sound fake. Yeah. Like I've been working at it for a while, and I mean, I can do this thing and sound like a total goofball. But no, I don't want to sound like a total goofball. I want to sound legit and like an actual female.
Then doing that actually, if you do your voice like that too long, you start your larynx starts getting tight and tired.
Oh, it gets so tired. Yeah. If you're over here like straining your voice,
somebody who's damaging. I talk to people who like I have a couple buddies who do like impersonations and like they say after the end of the night
the whole SpongeBob thing.
Yeah, it's like the end of the night. Or like Howie Mandel doing Bobby's World, matching how his voice like his throat.
Some of these guys do some crazy voices. Yeah. I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah. So we were talking about we had some as you can see, the view is different because I changed a little bit things here. We had some technical difficulties. We were talking about Game of Thrones and stuff offline, and you were talking about how you didn't like the season ending. And
so the way it ends bothers me.
Yeah.
I wasn't I don't hate the series.
Yeah. It was anticlimactic.
It was very anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Like,
if everybody would have died, it would have been like cool. Or like,
I mean, everybody dying would have been fine.
And they did start like towards the end. It was like bam, bam, bam. They started, they killed off Veros and
when the Dead Army attacked, I expected more people to die than actually did.
That was awesome. That was awesome. That episode was good.
That episode was awesome, especially when the Dead Army hits the human army and they do that whole wave thing.
Well, the light thing was cool. The light when they lit up all the swords and then it slowly disappeared. Cool. I was like, this shit's real now.
That Dothraki fight was sweet.
Well, it was weird how because it did it. Well, actually, now that I think about it, they were some running back, but the way it depicted it, that they got wiped out. But then you see in the last one, they were like a lot of them there. Like
there were a lot of Dothraki left, which was kind of surprising because I thought most of them were gone.
From all the flames going on, I'm pretty sure. Like I was like, every one of those flames is somebody that just died.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Then they all ran backwards, and the with the Sir whatever guy was running back and everything. So yeah, it's just they did their job. Everybody, we're talking about it now. So like they're so whatever it is, the way it ended, I think it could have been like a little bit.
Well, George, the author of Game of Thrones, gave them the first 4 books, and then gave them the end of the entire story and told them to fill it in. And so they filled it in to the end of the story. And then after that show came up, the
book is actually how that's how it ended.
The book's not done yet. And George actually made a statement saying that the books aren't going to end that way. He's going to change the ending for the books.
That's weird. Normally the book is done.
That's the weirdest thing about Game of Thrones is the books and the TV show's ahead of the books. So it's an interesting thing, but the ending for the TV show was a little frustrating for me. I don't think that who ended up on the throne should have ended up on the throne.
Yeah, it was weird.
I don't like the way Jon was handled. I expected what happened to Daenerys to happen, but I didn't think it was going to come from that person.
Yeah.
That's what shocked me.
And there's no spoiler alert. She was already out. So whatever. Yeah.
I mean, there might be someone that hasn't seen it. Some people don't.
We're about an hour. Well, I guess what I will do that I will put the spoiler in there. I guess to be kind of considerate. But yeah, again I still gotta watch the last one fully because we woke up and fell asleep multiple times. Both of us. It was a long day, and we just start watching it at 10 o'clock at night. It's probably not a good time. Oh,
God. Yeah, no. Yeah. You will definitely fall asleep if you start watching Game of Thrones that late at night.
So I got to check that out and see again, how everything went up. But again, for me, it was just, for what I did see, again, was how, Jon, went from being like this, badass until, kind of like, you're like, dude, you take the throne, man. It's like you.
Yeah, I mean, you have royal blood. You have the strongest claim to the throne. So she was his aunt? Aunt, yep.
Yeah, so that was weird.
I mean, the Targaryens were known for incest.
Yeah.
They were known for it.
Yeah.
Just about as much as the Lannisters were known, if not more.
So the people were probably down to what's the incest states in America with Alabama, and they were like, cool, this is
West Virginia and Alabama and shit. Well, you doggy, I'm gonna go find my cousin.
It's like this. Everybody probably liked that episode. It's like, that's cool. That's how we do it. But yeah, so now it's like that show goes off, and then it's like, what's next? So something else is going to come unless the screen is getting hot. But
scared the crap out of me.
There's definitely gonna be something coming. Like, 'cause this, it shows like Breaking Bad. I didn't watch Breaking Bad, so it actually went out there.
I haven't watched any of Breaking Bad. I've heard good things about it, but I've never watched it.
It's cool because you can just watch it. You don't have to wait till next week.
Watch the entire.
So it's definitely cool. Sopranos was one like that I didn't watch till it was done. So I watched a few, and I was in Iraq, so I had a lot of time.
Oh yeah.
So I watched Sopranos. Then I'm from Baltimore. I watched The Wire. I just want to see what it was about, and actually, it was really well done. But it was brought back memories of stuff you don't want to think about.
Yeah.
But there's a lot. I don't really watch much, honestly. Being
Yeah, I mean you're excessively busy.
Being here,
I can barely find time to watch things, and I'm a lot less busy than you are.
Yeah. So since because the main topic of this whole thing is your transition.
Yep.
So if the LGBT stuff, like I guess I actually seen this on Netflix. There's a LGBT. There's LGBT like sections now. Like there's movies. I'm like, it's kind of like softcore porn. Most of it's like this. It just seems most of them they put there's like. So LGBT is like another section of porn. It's like, nah, it's not really, but it's just like
it's not that at all. I mean, unfortunately, there's a natural like sexualization of anyone who's attracted to the same gender, and it's not 100% true of us. Like, I know a lot of people that are lesbians that they don't have sex once a month because they don't want it that much, and it's a normal relationship. It's just like any relationship anybody would be having. It just happens to be between two of the same gender rather than two of the opposite gender. But there's not much representation in any media or entertainment for healthy LGBT relationships. They're just not a common thing, and Netflix is one of the few places that tried to do it in a healthy way.
I'm new to I'm new to Netflix, so now I can see the buzz, because it's kind of cool to go there and scroll all this stuff, and it seemed like there's everything for somebody. Yeah, there's this new wave. So I just noticed, I was just scrolling through there, and then I noticed the sections, and I was like, oh, well, I didn't know that was even a thing. Yep. You got drama, you got horror, now you got now you go to the video store now, and even they're putting they haven't labeled it and Gale, but there's definitely, like, you can see a lot of like LGBT stuff or whatever. Like it'll be like girl on girl or whatever, guy on guy, and different types of stuff, and kind of, I guess, videos that are talking about the life or the relationships and things like that.
Not just the sex side of things.
It's not, and that's what most people. To me, it seems like it's just like it's like it almost should be inside the little curtain that says 18 or 18. Like, it's like I went there a few times just to see what's in there, and nobody makes eye contact.
Yeah, everyone's always looking down.
Like, I know what you're here for. Like, then I don't get it, because I'm like, well, I guess it's the novelty of renting or buying versus just going to Pornhub and like
it's way easier to go to the internet.
Yeah,
way easier.
Some people prefer to buy like that. Some people still buy VHS. So.
Some people are out here collecting.
Yeah, when I get Blu-ray on VHS, like, it doesn't work that way. You can't go backwards. But this is the biggest thing. Like I said, anybody who's even tuned into this far in, again, as you can see us having conversations back and forth, just to see, again, it's just normal. It's normal stuff. It's just and the thing about it, the way I've always seen it, even people, because I'm from Baltimore, there was never transgender talk. Just always is gay.
Yep. I mean, gay is the most common LGBT thing that you see. Yeah. It is the most common by far. I mean, on RuPaul's Drag Race, almost all of them are gay. Yeah. Almost all of them. Yeah. And there's 11 seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race. And
I didn't know there's that many.
There's been over 100 queens go through that whole show. That's the word I'm looking for. And so most of them are gay. The vast majority is. And I mean, it just, I don't know why it's the more prominent like letter of the acronym, I guess. Yeah. So
basically, like, your personal preference is women.
Yep.
Women. 100%. So like now, I mean, when people see that you're you're transitioning over, so I'm going to go out there and willing to bet that most guys, when they see you, they automatically assume that you're attracted to them.
Yep.
So, and that's the first thing is like, nah, I'm not. Yeah.
I have to.
And they're like, so how do you? And then it blows their mind when you tell them like, actually, I like girls.
Yeah, it definitely blows their mind. They're like, wait, how does that work?
Yeah.
And then I have to go into the whole. Well, they're all different things. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, until I watched that, that's why I was like, I really was excited to. I mean, I was very excited to talk about it before, but when I seen again, I keep bringing it up because it was a good podcast. I mean, they talk about everything and they talk about comedy and like all this stuff, and then like him beating the dude's ass on the street because the dude came up.
Luckily,
to him.
I haven't had to do that yet.
Yeah, so
because I would get my tiny ass beat because I'm fucking small as shit.
Yeah, so then he was like, yeah, the girl, and I was like, huh? Like, so I figured because she transitioned over that he preferred, like, he's becoming a woman, so most normal women prefer men. So I thought...
Yeah, I mean, straight women prefer men, but...
Straight women.
Like I said earlier, it's completely separate. There's no correlation between them at all.
So that's I mean, so now are you deployable?
Only with a waiver by the deployed location commander. There has to be, unless the location has an established medical facility, like a full-on hospital like we have here. The only way I can go there is with a waiver.
Okay. Yeah, so is what it is. I mean, military.
My job doesn't deploy that often, anyways. Okay. So it's not really something I have to worry about too much. Just because if we go to war, they send people to us to help us complete the mission of building engines for every aircraft that we have to build engines for. So it's a different scenario. We just don't deploy as often.
Yeah. So I mean, like the kind of, I don't want to talk about the military so too much. So in your daily section, you're on the flight line. So like, you have for your job, do you ever have to go to other sections and talk to other you working nights?
I'm in support now.
Okay. So you're not in 3000.
I'm still in 3007, but they moved me to support. So I don't actually turn the wrenches anymore. I maintain all the tools, which is
staff, right?
Yeah, I'm staff now. But yeah, we regularly have to go deal with other outside agencies. I've dealt with corrosion, PMEL, NDI, metals tech, sheet metal, all of them.
The reason I'm kind of asking this is just like, beyond you talk on the phone or whatever, I'll be able to pick up this part or whatever. And you get there and it's like, who the fuck's this person?
Yep, today? I get that.
So the first
I have to deal with LRS all the time, and every time I go over there, they're like, question.
The Japanese guys or
everyone?
Yeah.
I'll call them up and I'll be like, hey, it's our Muller from Special Back Shop. Can I get this fixed? And they'll be like, yeah, just come on over and we'll help you out. Shit. And I walk in and they have to like double take. They're like, wait, Sergeant Muller? I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Because I know my voice doesn't sound feminine at all.
Yeah,
so I walk in, and especially when I wear makeup and I've got my nails done and all that, people are blown away. They're like, wait, what?
Yeah, until I guess they get used to it, and then they're like, all right, well, yeah, they'll see it. And then it's like you got to repeat that over and over. And that's where I can see that part getting, because, again, you're comfortable with yourself, what you're doing, and then it's now within the regulations. So that's all good.
For people that are grandfathered in.
Yeah.
Now it's not allowed. But for people that are grandfathered in, it's allowed.
So then you're going to get, I can imagine, like, you got to be this way at work and you got to be this way here. And I can think that can probably get mentally tiring after a while.
It is.
After you like holding stuff in and everything. And I'm 100% comfortable with myself, which is why I can have the conversation. I think people who are not comfortable with themselves, or even, and it's true, if you ever see a guy that's what I was I remember, that's why I kind of go around. It's talking about the gay stuff, because what I was saying before I go back onto this topic, I've never been like approached by anybody that was, that preferred the same sex. So it was like, they do their thing, but that's their life.
Yep.
It doesn't affect me at all. So why is it so up in arms about it and want to physically harm people? Like, I've never had, I trained jiu-jitsu, martial arts, and I'm pretty sure within that realm, that's somebody that I'm rolling with, somebody who prefers dudes. They're a guy preferring guys, but you don't.
But it's just like, going into, like, this is one of the main arguments that we get for a completely different subject, but it's relevant here, is lesbians can go into a female locker room and not go crazy with a bunch of naked women walking around. Like, and it's the same thing with how, like, you're not attracted to every single girl you see.
No, I'm not.
And it's the same thing. And whether I'm attracted to men or women, I'm not going to be attracted to every single one I see.
Right.
So that's something that I think a lot of people who aren't comfortable with themselves don't understand. It's like they think they're attracted to them because they're uncomfortable, and they're not comfortable in themselves, and they're like, it's a weird whole mental thing, for sure. And I mean, I've met a few guys that are completely comfortable with themselves, and they have gay friends, and they constantly give their gay friends shit because they're like, oh, you're not attracted to me, that's rude, type thing. Like, bitch, I'm hot, type thing. But they're still completely...
I was deployed with a guy who was... Everybody knew he kept it under wraps. I'm not going to say his name, but I mean, I knew from right away. Then I actually also... I watched the guy turn a guy, like, during the deployment.
So... He didn't turn him.
He was already
opened his eyes.
Yeah, so he was already the guy. He was already. He was. Yeah, it was weird because the one that I guess you're correct on that. He kind of did have a little ember of it, and then when he met, they just hung out all the time.
Yep.
Then
it just clicks.
Towards the night, it was 8-month deployment, so towards the end, they were really together. And then his mannerisms changed, and I was like, "Wow, man! It's
once
like everybody watched it slowly happen."
Yep.
Over
I
8
feel
months.
Like most gay people have that, like, moment where their eyes are open. There are some that have it from, like, day one. They just have it.
The one who turned the other guy, he was flamboyant. Like, everybody knew it. The one who eventually, like, got on his team or whatever, how you want to say it, he was more like, masculine. But then I could tell it was a fake. It was a fake.
It was a fake
over.
masculinity.
It was over.
Yeah.
It was like over.
That.
Like,
there's a lot of transgender girls that are that way too, where
yeah,
they try to fit into the male society so much that they just go too far.
Yeah.
Like, that's why a lot of pictures of people pre-transition, they've got, like, full massive beards and everything because they're trying to fit in. I mean, I had a beard before I came here, just doing the guy thing.
Yeah.
Like, trying to fit into what people just expect of a guy. And when for me, as a transgender female, you constantly have to think about how to interact with guys. Whereas with females, I'm just completely comfortable. I act normally. And
it's just you would think a lot of the military people, well, I think a lot of guys would have a certain level of maturity, which this is not the. I mean, it's not.
Have you met maintainers?
It's not. I've been out there a while with them, and it's just like they don't. They're grown kids, and they don't.
They're children in a big body.
Yeah, so it's
every single one of them.
Most people, they don't know how to react. They don't know how to be like. I mean, again, I don't feel like. One thing for you is I can tell you're, again, a lot more comfortable. That's again, I can just, like, feel it. Like, again, when you were here before working on the engine, there was, like, an awkwardness, and, like, I was like, what? Like, I know again, I come direct, but
I don't think the awkwardness was between us. Yeah. Because, I mean, we're talking now, and it hasn't been awkward since I showed up.
I'm talking about, it wasn't the communication, but I just kind of feel something.
Yeah, no, you could feel it. Yeah. It definitely was.
And then again, what it felt like again was like, again, I mean, I've been in a room before. I sound like a slut, but I've been in a room before with 4 women that I have sex with, all in the same room. Oh, yeah. One time it was 3 at the same table. We were all having lunch together.
Yep.
So I was looking like they didn't know.
None of them knew that you.
I think
one
of them had idea, but the other, I think they didn't know. And I'm just like,
that makes you really uncomfortable. You're sitting there oh God.
And they're talking to each other and like girl this and girl that, and I'm like, and within like 4 weeks, I've had sex with all of you, and like and then I would get like each one of them at certain times to give me a look.
Give you the look, and you'd be like, oh God.
So college was cool. So I dropped out of college, but college was a cool social
it's
experiment.
An interesting social experiment for sure.
Yeah, so it was. But again, kind of saying that to say it, just like I could kind of. It was like I don't know if like did I say something to like make him standoffish or something or whatever. Just something felt like it's like you had a secret or something like that.
Yep.
I don't know,
Yep. I get it.
Like you were spying. Like you were actually like working for Porsche, and you were like they embedded you here to like see what
you're doing or something.
Yeah, so anyway, going past that again, I feel a more comfortable aura from you, and again for me, I don't feel any different. I don't feel like I'm stuttering on my words or whatever. I don't feel weird looking at you. It's the same eyeballs.
Same eyeballs.
Yeah. So it's
and just have a little bit of makeup around. That's all.
Yeah. So it's. Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned Rocky Horror because like your makeup kind of has the Rocky Horror like the
a little bit.
Yeah,
I didn't plan for that, but yeah.
Well, the main guy who had the
Frankenfurter. Yeah. He would do a black smoky eye.
Yeah. I know he had like I just remember I haven't seen it in a long time. But I just remember you definitely had some kind of shadow or something going on with the eyes. Yeah, he had a smoky eye. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. It's again I kind of go back to it. Everybody who's in my phone's died now, so I don't know. We were like an hour or something. Hour into what time you got right now?
It is 10:51.
All right, so we'll be about 11:15 because I know you got to get out of here. So
she hasn't texted me, so it could be 2:00 before we meet up. She's one of those people that takes forever to do anything.
Yeah, but I gotta.
But you got an engine pull to do.
Well, I'm actually taking pictures of that because I'm gonna get it pre-sale up online. See if somebody want to buy that because that'll be out by like tomorrow or probably Monday.
Okay.
My wife, she's 6. We're gonna have the kid in like they say in between July 15th and July 22nd. So of course my schedule is like all crazy.
Yeah.
And she right now
kind of planned around that.
Yeah. Well, I've already. Pretty much. Well, she said the 22nd first, and then now she's saying like they're saying the 2nd, either the 2nd, the 15th. I'm like that's kind of a big range, so it can come in between at that time. So the 22nd I've already cut off customers, so I gotta like really crunch stuff in the June to make the money to
to support July.
So that's actually kind of. I've been doing it since I've been here, so it's not a risk thing. But anyway, she got that, and she got the kids there, and their 3-year-old is doing all this stuff, and the 1-year-old is trying to follow him, so it's just hard for her to keep up with them and everything. So, trying to be going a little bit too much. But anyway, it's kind of a little bit too much personal stuff. But I mean, nobody wants to hear about that. But as far as is there anything like I said, like I asked you a bunch of questions? Is there anything that you want to put out there to? What's the biggest thing I guess people misunderstand, or anything that you want to put out there to help people understand, or what they should be looking at if they're looking at doing this transition?
So, for people that just are experiencing other people going through it, the main thing is to not ask the like personal questions like how do you have sex? Do you have those parts? Like stuff like that. You want to stay away from those.
Right. Which I haven't.
You're good. Many transgender people don't want anything mentioned about their previous pre-transition stuff. I'm pretty comfortable with it just because I know me. That's who I used to be. It's part of who I am now, but I'm different now than I was type thing. Not everyone's comfortable with it like I am, though. So you just got to be careful with it. And don't assume someone's pronouns in most situations. Like, a lot of people still, even if I'm wearing a dress, heels, and makeup like I am today, would address me as a male. And yeah, I get it. My voice is not feminine, and I don't have.
And this is people who already
people who know
you.
Yeah, people who know. I get it that my voice isn't feminine, and I've got a strong jawline and stuff like that. But if someone has told you these are my preferred pronouns, respect that and use them, even if you're not really comfortable with what they're doing or you don't understand. Because let's be honest, no one who isn't transgender is going to fully understand what's going on. All you have to do is accept it and support it to the best of your ability, and not be an unnecessary dick about it, basically. Like, the way you've been about it is perfect. You've asked the questions you've had. You've tried to be respectful about it, and like you said, it's the same thing it was in the past. I'm still a normal human being. Yeah, I'm going through something different.
I don't want to use it. I'd use the normal word, like normal.
Normal doesn't exist. Normal doesn't exist. But I'm still just a human being that has interests and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, if you are confused about anything ever, just politely ask the question. Be like, hey, can I ask you something? And if they say, well, not now or whatever, just jot it down, put it, commit it to memory, something. Just bring it back up later in a private situation where you can actually ask this question that needs to be answered. I'm extremely open. People can ask me any question, whatever the heck they want, and I'll answer it truthfully. You can ask me, have you had bottom surgery yet? And I'll be like, nope, I have not had bottom surgery yet. Or you can ask me, how do I have sex? And my answer will be, I don't, because I'm single.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It'll just be...
Yeah.
I'm very honest about it. Like, how did you come to terms with it? What's your story? What things have you run into that are issues? Like, I'll answer all those questions. Some people are not comfortable answering those things, so you just have to be polite and read the situation.
Right.
That's all it comes down to, is being a polite, respectful human being.
Yeah.
And just because someone does something that you don't necessarily agree with doesn't mean you have to be awful about it.
Yeah.
Just be like, okay, well, they're going to do them. I'm going to do me. What they're doing doesn't hurt me. It doesn't affect my life. So why would I throw a fit? That's really all it comes down to.
Yeah, that's why before we start recording, I gave this is a precursor, because I didn't want you to think that, I was like coming here to like just do like a smear campaign or like just antagonize, because some people do that. They'll do interviews and then like invite the person to their studio and just attack them. You've seen stuff like that where you just, because they're trying to get a rise. They're trying to get a rise out of, and also like podcast is different because I'm not on a network. I'm not doing this for no numbers.
Just something that you enjoy doing.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
It is my hope that people, because
getting awareness for transgender military members.
Yeah. And that thing again, I knew you before your transition, so I knew you weren't a bad person. Yeah. And not saying that even if I'm not saying that people who transition are bad people, but
there's bad people that are straight, bad people that are gay. Like there's bad people,
bad people
of all types of.
It's just that I knew you're a car person. You're for you is again. I go back to saying again, if it was transgender only outside, civilian, different world, but being so many more factors.
Different. Yeah, I've got the military, car, transgender.
Yeah. So you got
mechanic.
You got a lot of communities.
Yeah, I got a lot of different things that I can pull from for sure.
Yeah, so they again definitely my suggestion would be definitely to run with it. Definitely, I wouldn't worry so much about, because the thing about it, the followers that you gain from the social media stuff, they're just going to be along for the ride. And actually,
I've had a lot more followers on Instagram since I started posting pictures with my makeup done and as who I am.
Yeah. Because actually, right around the time I asked you to be on the podcast.
That's right around the time I started posting things more frequently too.
I was looking. The reason why I went on I went on YouTube and I actually noticed there weren't a lot of interviews, and then there one page came up is if you type in transgender, like this group, they got a transgender podcast. There's a group of it's three. It's like
Trans IRL. I think
they got like the.
I think
nice,
I follow.
They got a nice like blue background or whatever. They got like a nice looking.
I think I follow the lead person of that. Let's see if I can find her real quick.
I'm pretty sure we're talking about the same group because they're pretty. They got like over 1 million subscribers, and the let me see.
YouTube.com/transirl.
Yeah.
This is like the lead person for it. So. Yeah, if you want to go see a bunch of people who are really far along in their transitions and have done a lot of very interesting things and have all their own experiences, Trans IRL is actually a really cool podcast. I've only watched like one episode of it, but it's still a really cool podcast.
And what's other than like the YouTube stuff? Is there like any other stuff that you Googled, you come across that like
I mean, there's a variety of different transgender people on YouTube that talk about their stories. There's people on Tumblr. There's tons of people on Instagram. Facebook. I don't go on Facebook anymore. I still have it, but I don't go on it. But yeah, Instagram's my main social media these days. I post anytime I want to post a picture. I post it on there, and I follow a bunch of people on there.
Is there a particular tag that's used a lot for the?
I use a lot of different tags. Transgender, male to female, transgender, male to female. MTF is male to female. Trans service members, I use that one sometimes.
That's how many? That's like getting popular, or?
It's gone up and down. As the bans and stuff have gone into effect, things have changed, and it's gotten a little bit less popular, but back when the bans were still being debated, it was very popular. Trans girl, transgender girl, bunch of different ones. But I mean, if you go on my Instagram, you can go to any of my posts and just look at them.
Yeah, I'll put your Instagram down in the link, so anybody want to follow you, they can follow you. But again, just kind of wrapping up a little bit, because we got to get to places and everything. It's just again, thanks for coming in to talk about it.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and again,
I'd come back on if you wanted me back.
Well, definitely. Because I mean, this is like what stage where you're at right now would you call? Like, I guess
I'd say I'm about 3/4 of the way through my transition, because I've been on hormones long enough to see physical changes, and I only have one surgery left that I want to do. So I'd say I'm about 3/4.
All right. So I would definitely is that surgery going to happen while you're here, or
no? Okay. It's
far.
It's pretty far in the future.
Off, yeah. So definitely I've already had the guests back on again, but just to like a little bit later on, like probably like around about the time you're about to leave, or just to talk again to see how things have progressed and everything. Yeah. See how everything is going, and then also like again that we just talked about your desire not lack of, but just feeling
less motivation
with the car stuff. So definitely utilize, like, a lot has changed since you were building that car here. I got a lot more contacts and everything, and definitely utilize me, and we can get stuff done and get parts or whatever stuff that right there. So I'm definitely still, like I say, I would hate to know that people just like disown you when they found out.
The girlfriend that I was with when I actually came to terms with it left me because she couldn't handle it.
Yeah. So that's people like that are, like we were talking about before. We were talking about offline a little bit about the people who are for you when they feel like you're up here or whatever, and they're kind of, she's probably looking for a reason already, and it's just you either deal with it or you don't, and it's just people are going to if you I guess, come out or whatever. And again, the biggest thing too is just like, because even I was like, well, you know, I didn't know if you preferred guys or girls.
Yeah, I mean, that's why
so
you asked.
Yeah, that's why I asked. It's like now that you know, I know. Well, actually, I kind of put it together when I seen the Facebook thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, well, you prefers women. So that
I could have just preferred everyone.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
no, definitely women.
Yeah. So that's. And that doesn't change at all with you don't feel a difference with the more, you know,
not
pills
really, no.
Yeah.
I haven't noticed any change in my sexuality. So
it's pretty, so that's definitely I learned. I mean, I learned a lot of stuff today. A lot of stuff that I could have went online easily and read about
all
it.
The information's out there on
again,
the
it's
internet,
when you know the person. When you know who you're talking to,
it's nicer to learn it from someone that you know too.
Yeah, it's a big. That's why it's a big difference. And again, I'm pretty sure everybody out there that's watching and everything learned a lot of stuff. So again, we'll link up the Instagram, get all that stuff on there, and then again, we definitely will have you back on at a later time. And hopefully you'll have the camera. Well, definitely will be a different.
Will be a little bit different.
Yeah, it'll be. I mean, it's already changed so many times. Last time I didn't have this table. It was just like we were sitting on a stool with this little. We built this little wood thing, and the mic was clamped to that.
Yep.
And so it's definitely. And this is only episode number 18. So. It's chugging along and everything's getting better. I mean, this is probably as far as technical stuff. You don't need no more because actually I can take this on the road.
Yeah,
the laptop, and I pretty much load the program up, and I can go anywhere, and I can have it all in a suitcase. So I don't really want to have, and the lights actually fold all down and collapse down and everything. So and actually you look better on camera than I do because you got makeup on and I don't, so I look like shiny. I need to start pouting.
I got my highlight. So I'm supposed to be shiny in some places.
Yeah.
But I definitely I keep looking at myself on this little screen we have. Just like,
so the thing about it, all three are different. So that one actually, this one looks. That's more like how it's gonna look.
This one's got a lot more.
Like glare.
White glare on it.
Yeah, and then the one up there, you look like Casper.
Yes, I do. It's so bad. I'm so white up there. Yeah. Like down on this one, I got a little bit of tan. Up there, I'm white, and down over here, I'm like actually human colored.
Yeah, normal. So you getting more tattoos or?
Yeah, I've got, aside from the 3 that you can see, I've got this book, I've got my girl, and the cross. I've got 2 bow or ribbons on the backs of my thighs, and then right here I've got my Harry Potter house crest. So I've got plans for at least 3 more, if not more.
Okay.
I love tattoos. I'm addicted to them for sure. So I've got quite a few plans.
Yeah, but then I got a few incomplete. I've been missing in action for a while. I got like a lot on my legs people don't never see because I don't wear shorts. So but yeah, guys, we'll see you again. It's gonna be episode number 18. Signing off from Pinku style. A lot more to come again. I hope you guys can see it's a lot more relaxed. First couple of episodes, I was like kind of like jittery and like. Mine was about to explode, but definitely getting more comfortable, and it's just like my old videos where I just would turn on the camera and talk. So we got definitely more guests planned for the future. I'm not going to announce them as much anymore because I don't want to build that drama that the witch come up and then like where is that? So kind of like this one, I was going to post the pictures before, but again I want to get like a more current picture. And everything. So again, thank you guys for your time. I hope we've learned as much as I have, and definitely if you, for those people out there that's looking, watching this, thinking about transitioning over, and worrying about people who are around you, how they're gonna, it's people are gonna be how they are. You can't change that. You just keep those in your life that are good for you. Those who you don't have to deal with, employees and stuff like that. You're only around them for a little bit, and they don't control your destiny. They're your coworkers. So just kind of deal with it and look for a support group out there, and just keep an open mind for the people out there who are, have friends who transition over or whatever, that they're the same people. They just they're acting out how they feel, and they're just projecting how they feel and everything. So you can't change that. You just deal with it, or you just don't. Unfortunately, everybody's not going to get along or have the same views. I'm comfortable with it. Again, I'm 100%. I like women or whatever. I like women. I don't like skinny women. So,
Well, that puts me out of the contest.
So I'm safe. And then she has Miata. So like we was talking about, you drive girly cars. So
yes,
now
I do.
So now that's cool now. So, but again, thank you guys tuning in. Have a nice day or night or wherever you're at. If you're in Antarctica or whatever, it's daytime all the time. So get some sleep out there. So thank you guys tuning in again. It's gonna be Donald and Lianna signing off of Pinku Style. See you guys later.